If I started exercising for longevity in 2025, I would do this. That's something I'm going to talk about today, so stick around. Hi, my name is Hachiaki Takamiya. I am the author of Live Wiser, Not Smarter. Happy New Year! So it is 2025, isn't it? Have you made any New Year's resolutions? My resolution is reaching 100,000 subscribers this year. I have about 10,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I will appreciate it very much. Thank you. Now, how about your resolutions? I suppose many of you think like, okay, this year I'm going to go jogging every day, that kind of thing. But then you usually do it in January, but once February hit, oh, it's kind of cold and maybe I'll skip it today and so on. And you start going jogging 3 times a week. And then when March comes, it becomes once a week. And then April, then you kind of stop it. Why? Why does it happen? Why can you not continue doing it? Partly because it is too general. Like going jogging every day is a good resolution, yet it's too general. Like you don't know why you are doing it. So the purpose is not clear and there is no backup plans because of it. So what does jogging do? Why do you need to go jogging? And if the jogging becomes very difficult, are there other alternatives? Are there other exercises that have the same function as jogging? If you know all those things, then you can have a backup plan in case if you find it too difficult to continue jogging. And there are so many different types of exercises. Jogging is not the only way where you can do strength training, you can go cycling, you can do HIIT, or you can do Qigong, yoga. Maybe it is better to choose something that you can enjoy doing, something it's comfortable and easy for you to do. Then you can continue more. And why do you want to exercise in the first place? Do you want to lose weight or do you want to be stronger? Do you want to kind of look younger because of your kind of fitness? Or you are doing for longevity? Now, since this is a health and longevity channel, many of you are interested in exercising for longevity. What does it mean? What does it mean to live longer? Why do you want to live longer anyway? Many people have a vague idea of living longer because it's kind of a fashionable thing. I mean, to live longer. I mean, who doesn't want to live longer? Everybody's talking about it. Health and longevity is big now that everybody is talking about it. Everybody is doing it. So why not kind of thing? So you don't know why you're doing it, but I think it's kind of cool to live longer. But this is a critical question because, Tony Robbins, he says to achieve your goals, one of the most important elements of achieving your goal is to know why you are doing it. You have a strong desire to achieve that goal because you know why you want to do it. So why do you want to live longer? This is the question you must ask yourself first. And it is 2025. And then many people say this year is going to be very different. It's going to be weird. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be completely different from any other years. Things that we are familiar with may collapse and we might shift into a completely new reality. So are you prepared for this change, this coming transformation? And this will affect any field in your business, in your study, and your pursuit of health and longevity too. To choose exercise, you need to know the landscape of 2025. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you first what 2025 will be like and things you need to pay attention to when choosing an exercise, including the landscape of the 2025. Then benefit of each exercise. what does each exercise do? The function of each exercise, like what does jogging do? What does strength training do? What does qigong do? And so on. Optimal versus adherence. There are optimal exercises. There are optimal diet, optimal fasting, and so on. But if you cannot practice it, there is no point. Adherence is very important. I think adherence is the most important thing in health and longevity. So, how do you keep the balance between optimal exercises and adherence? So, because you want to do something you enjoy doing, you want to do something that is doable, but at the same time, you want your exercise to be effective enough. You don't want to pick an exercise that doesn't help you at all. So to keeping the balance between the two is critical. And then finally, the ideal regimen that I recommend in 2025. Now, the ideal regimen is different for each person, of course, but I will just give some examples. One regimen for people who are relatively fit, and one regimen for people who are kind of okay level, and one regimen for people who are not so fit, and then one regimen for beginners, so that you have some ideas of what area you need to pay attention to choose an exercise. And then based on that, you can customize it. You can kind of choose exercises that resonate with you. If you want to know all this, please watch the video until the end. So this is a video about exercise, but if you're interested in other fields such as diet, I made another video about diet, and the actual title is If I Started Optimizing My Diet in 2025, I'd do this. I put the link in the description box, so please watch that video as well. Now, those of you who just discovered this video today for the first time, this is the Ikigai Diet channel, which is a health and longevity channel. We usually cover things like diet, exercise, mindset, and sometimes we cover Japanese blue zones because there are several blue zones in Japan other than Okinawa, and we cover from traditional Japanese health method to modern Japanese health trend such as chokatsu. So basically, this is a channel about how to increase health span, especially for people over 50 or over 60. So if you're interested, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Now, 2025 will be very different from 2024. Many people who predict the future, there have been many videos about what the 2024 will be like, and then they all say it is going to be completely different from other years. And one thing we are certain, one thing we all know is that in the United States, the new administration, the Trump administration will be inaugurated, I think, January 20th. And then many things will change. Whether you like it or not, it will change. And one of the things that will be implemented, I suppose, is MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, by RFK Jr. Whether you like him or not, it will impact the landscape of American health. For example, one thing that he said that he would do is to get rid of ultra processed food. Now, for those of you who've been watching this channel, you've all been familiar with the danger of ultra processed food, and you probably don't eat ultra processed food, so it doesn't affect you that much. But it will bring more public awareness about food and about health in general. So it may not impact you so much personally, but it will impact the general public. More people will become conscious about food and health in general. More people will become health conscious. What does it mean? What would it affect? Well, there will be a lot of information about health on the internet. Many people put out information about health. Some people will be selling their own supplement, or other people will be promoting their diet or their exercise method and so on. So there will be a flood of information on the internet about health. Some of them are good, but some of them could be false information, or if not false, kind of one-sided information. So there will be a different opinion. And one expert says this, but the other expert says completely the opposite. So you'll be confused. I mean, many people will be confused. So you need to know the basic. You need to know the basic about nutrition, basic about exercises, basic about fasting, and so on. And this is going to be a global phenomenon, not only American phenomena, because US policy usually influence other countries. And if this is happening on the internet, that is universal. All of us will be influenced by this new trend. And then 2025 will also be the year of the snake, according to the Chinese zodiac. And then this year, it is going to begin in January, on January 29th. Now, usually the Chinese New Year begins in February, in the beginning of February, but this year it is about 10 days earlier. That means almost the entire 2025 will be the year of the snake. So the influence of this Chinese New Year is a little stronger than usual. So what does it mean? What is the characteristic of the year of the snake? Now, one key word is wisdom. And then next one is transformation, especially spiritual transformation. And the last one is intuition. So wisdom is one of the key words. Therefore, you want to live wiser. So this is wise biohacking, by the way. So usually for regular biohacking is like a smart biohacking. People talk about how to be smart, how to kind of optimize your diet, exercise, and everything else so that you can be efficient. But wise biohacking is very different. And this is probably the only channel which talks about wise approach. And spirituality. Spirituality has been popular in the last few years, or I would say the last few decades. There has always been a group of people who are interested in spirituality. They practice yoga, meditation, crystals, and all kind of thing. But this year, many kind of people who predict the future are saying there will be some disclosures about spirituality, such as extraterrestrial. And there will be some scientific discoveries about spiritual reality too. So for the first time in history, the spirituality and science will be kind of merged. There will be some spiritual reality that is backed up by science. So that means more people will pay attention to spirituality, or spirituality become more official and mainstream. And what does it mean? Well, for example, life after death. Some people start thinking of the possibility of life after death. And I mean, the concept of life after death, or another form of existence after our death, has been talked about in many different spiritual practices. But there could be some scientific discovery about the possibility of another form of existence after death. And that will change many things. It will change the notion of lifespan extension. So why do you want to live longer if there is another form of existence after dying? We might as well die at age 90 or age 100. We don't need to live until 150 and so on. So more and more, the increasing of health span becomes the key issue, not so much increasing your lifespan. So if you are dying at age 100 or 120, the question is, can you stay healthy into that age? Can you remain mobile until the final period? But also, what happens after that? I mean, of course, we can all increase our health span and remain healthy, but eventually we will die. Every single one of us will eventually experience death. Then what's next? Are you not curious? I am. I want to be prepared for that. So, improving your spiritual self becomes more key issue now. So you want to increase your health span, but at the same time, you want to improve your spirituality so that you are more prepared for your death. You are in a better condition or position at the time of your dying so that you'll be in a better situation to evolve into. And the other thing is natural disasters. Many people predict natural disasters this year, such as hurricane, forest fire, earthquake, volcanic eruption, and so on. Partly this is because of the climate change. And we had quite a few natural disasters last year, but this year we'll probably have more natural disasters. That means we could die any moment. Regardless of how healthy you are, we could die tomorrow. I mean, you're exercising correctly, have a perfect diet, you practice fasting regularly, but you could still die next week. It's possible by accident or something. So you don't want to just think about your body. You don't want to just think about preserving your body, but you want to think about what happens if something happens and you die. The oldest person has passed away recently. Her name is Tomiko Itooka, and she was the longest living person. She died at the age of 116 at the end of December. Now, that made me think about something. That is the 120-year longevity barrier. Now, it seemed to be very difficult to live past 120 years. Now, there has been only one person who lived over 120. Back in 1997, one French woman lived until 122. But since then, nobody has lived over 120. And Tomiko Itooka was one of the last hosts, but she didn't make it to 120. But think about it. Since 1997, that means nearly 30 years. Nobody has broken the world record yet. Isn't that strange? Because in that 30 years, the field of health and longevity had a tremendous advancement. A lot of new discoveries about our cells and the type of diet, exercise is optimal for longevity and so on. So how come nobody has lived over 120 years for the last 30 years? That makes me question whether it is actually possible to live over 120 years. It is possible to live to 100. Many people have lived to 100. There are many centenarians now, but to be super centenarian who is over 110 years old is very difficult, and maybe 115 or 116 is the sort of limit of our lifespan. So that means the focus will become more increased health span until 120 or maybe 115. And meantime, you want to prepare for death. The two things will be the main things in the field of biohacking. So based on this new landscape of 2025, let's look at things you need to pay attention to when choosing an exercise. Now, One is the disease prevention. In order to increase your health span, you need to prevent disease, including, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and also brain disease such as dementia. And you need to think of injury prevention because injury is one of the biggest causes of death among senior citizens. Often, by falling, you break your hip bone and you become bedridden. And then once you become bedridden, you won't be able to exercise or move around. And then eventually you'll start developing other diseases and that can kill you. So to increase your health span, you need to pay attention to those two areas, disease prevention and injury prevention. And on top of that, in 2025, because of this spiritual development factor, you need to think about spirituality and you also need to think about the planetary health. Well, to be able to continue living, the earth needs to be healthy. So you need to think about the health span of the planet earth as well. And this is going to be good for your spirituality because contributing something to the planet is one of the elements that can kind of help your soul to grow and maybe to place yourself in a better position at the time of your death. So you want to do something good for the planet. So all those things, disease prevention, injury prevention, spirituality, and planetary health are all important when choosing an exercise. On top of that, doability, whether you can continue doing the exercise or not, regardless of how optimal those exercises are, there's no point if you cannot continue doing it. So doability is important. Therefore, disease prevention, injury prevention, spirituality, planetary health, and doability are the key element when choosing an exercise. Okay, so let's look at each area. Now, disease prevention. So what kind of exercises are beneficial for disease prevention? Many experts agree that aerobic exercises or the cardio exercises are good for your heart health, but also good for other organs too, including the gut and brain. So what type of exercises are aerobic exercises? They are jogging or walking, Nordic walking, stair walking, hiking, cycling, swimming, dancing. And this is not an exercise, but sauna is also considered to be good for your heart health. Now, do you know heart rate zones? There are 5 zones, zone 1 to zone 5. So zone 1 is very light, 50% to 60% of heart rate max. Zone 2, right, 60% to 70% of heart rate max. Zone 3, moderate, 70% to 80% of heart rate max. Zone 4, hard, 80% to 90% of heart rate max. Zone 5, maximum, 90% to 100% of heart rate max. Now, so zone 2 training is often considered to be beneficial for your heart health. Zone 2, 60% to 70% of heart rate max. In other words, so when you do a talk test, while you're jogging or walking, if you can kind of talk, if you can have a conversation, you are in the zone 2. Although it's not easy, it's kind of difficult to hold a conversation, but you can manage to have a conversation, you are in zone 2. But if the conversation becomes difficult, it's almost impossible to make sentences. You can maybe say a few words, but not sentences. Then you are in zone 3. So zone 2 is you can form a sentence to talk to someone, even though it is difficult. For example, brisk walking or slow jogging. It is different for every person, of course. I mean, depending on your heart condition, For some, it is zone 3, but for some, it is zone 1. So it changes depending on you. But for many people, brisk walking or slow jogging is zone 2. And then it is often recommended that you practice this type of training for 150 to 180 minutes per week, which means, for example, if you did 45 minutes of low intensity aerobic activity 4 days a week, or 60 minutes 3 days a week, or 45 minutes 2 days and 60 minutes 1 day a week. Now, the first two, if you are doing it for 180 minutes per week, but the last one is if you're doing 150 minutes per week. So I actually do the last one. So I'm just doing 150 minutes, not 180 minutes, but I'm doing 60 minutes once a week because when you do this kind of low intensity aerobic activity for 60 minutes, you can activate autophagy as much as practicing 72 hours fast. So, autophagy. Autophagy is a cellular recycling mechanism that is critical for longevity too. And you can activate autophagy through fasting and some other ways, but you can activate it through exercise too. And then doing 60 minutes of low intensity aerobic exercise is one way. So I make sure to include that once a week in my regimen. The other thing is more higher intensity exercises such as zone 4, zone 5. This is often called VO2 max training. Now, what is VO2 max? It is the maximum amount of oxygen your body uses during exercise. The higher the VO2 max is, the better your heart health is. So this is the key indicator of your heart health. Now, doing zone 2 training is wonderful to improve your VO2 max. But once a week, you want to do this higher intensity aerobic activity that can improve your VO2 max tremendously, according to some experts, such as HIIT, high intensity interval training. This is very popular, but there are many different types of HIIT. One HIIT is called Norwegian 4x4 protocol. Now, this is you do a short warm up for about 5 minutes, and then you do sprinting at 85% to 95% of maximum heart rate, or at least at the maximum speed you can sustain for 4 minutes. Then rest, such as very slow walking to allow the heart rate to decrease for 3 minutes. So sprinting 4 minutes and rest 3 minutes. And you repeat this process 4 times. So that is called 4x4. Now, this type of exercise is very popular now, and many experts say this can improve your VO2 max tremendously. I sometimes do it, but not every week because I find this is a little too much. It's a little too strenuous. And so instead, I choose the next type of hit, that is Tabata style hit. Now, this time it is much shorter, so you can sprint for 20 seconds and then rest for 10 seconds. And you do that 8 sets, so totaling 4 minutes. I find this is much easier because it's shorter time. I mean, continuous sprinting for 4 minutes is almost impossible for me. And it becomes zone 4 or zone 3, not zone 5. But maybe if it's for 20 seconds, it is possible to put myself in zone 5. You can do other high intensity activities. It doesn't have to be sprint. For example, you can do push-ups or sit-ups or anything else really. So doing Tabata style hit is another option. Next one is injury prevention. To prevent falling, what kind of thing do you need to train? Number one, you need muscle strength. It is very important to have a strong muscle so that you can kind of support your legs and your waist so that you don't fall. And you also need bone strength, because in case if you fall, if you have a stronger bone, it is less likely that you injure yourself. So you need both muscle strength and bone strength. Plus, you need balance and flexibility, because the bottom line is it's all the balance that can keep you stable. If you lose your balance, then you fall. So balance is very important. People stress muscle strength a lot. In fact, muscle strength is very big in the field of health and longevity right now. Many people talk about it. But I find if you train your muscle too much, your body becomes stiff. And if your body becomes stiff, you lose flexibility, and then you can increase the risk of injury in some way. So it is important to work on your muscles, but make your muscle flexible at the same time. Strong but flexible muscles are the key. You know, Bruce Lee, there is a famous quote by Bruce Lee. Notice that the stiffest tree is more easily cracked, while the bamboo or willow survives by bending with the wind. So, being soft, being flexible is critical to protect from falling. So, balance and flexibility, that is very important. And finally, decreasing injury risk. This is often neglected. Many longevity experts don't talk about this, but if you want to prevent injury, you don't want to increase this risk. But some of the regimens they talk about have high injury risk, such as sprinting or even jogging. For some people, jogging has higher risk than walking, and sprinting has higher risk than jogging, or doing Norwegian 4x4 have higher risk than doing a lower intensity activity. So you need to think about those risks too. I mean, they may be effective, but are you able to handle those exercises? You need to question, and you need to consult your doctor first. If you have a fragile, leg or anything, if you're not so fit, then you need to consult your doctor first when you're choosing exercise. You need to start from safe exercises. Problem of some of those recommendations are that they are training you to become a centenarian athlete, like to be able to continue your athletic activities even when you become 100 years old, which is fine. And maybe you are doing that. Maybe you want to be able to continue running at 100 years old. That is fine. But you need to ask yourself a question. Is it necessary? Is it necessary to be able to perform certain athletic practices at 100 years old? Because becoming a centenarian athlete isn't the only your goal. Becoming an athletic centenarian isn't the only way to embrace old age. You can be a great singer to embrace your senior years, or you can become a great painter to embrace your senior years. Athletic is not the only thing, but because some of the experts are interested in fitness themselves, they like to focus on those things, but life is a lot more than just fitness. There are other areas to embrace your life. So you don't need to feel this is the only way. There are other gentle approaches. Of course, to be a great singer or great painter, you need to maintain your muscle, bones, and heart health. But do you have to do all those high intensity activities? That is a different question. Okay, so for muscle strength, what kind of exercises can you do to maintain your muscle strength? Whenever you think of muscle strength, you think of the weight lifting. This is the most common type of exercise you think of. And you think of kind of, lifting a barbell and stuff like that. Although not all longevity experts were recommending this type of exercise, but whenever they say, muscle strength is important, you need to train your muscle, we all think of this type of exercise because we are conditioned to think like this. We grew up with, watching people like Arnold Schwarzenegger having, huge chest and bulky biceps and thing. We all wanted to be like them. And then as we get older, we lose our muscles and we feel we're kind of losing our masculinity. And therefore, in order to stay young, we feel we have to have a big chest and big biceps and but do we need that for longevity? Do we need this to prevent falling? That is the question you need to ask yourself because you are doing this to not to look good, but to prevent falling. I think what is important, you need more lower body. You need to have a strong legs and waist and so on to protect you from falling. I mean, upper body is important too, such as grip strength. That is quite important. But you can do that through body weight training, such as push-ups. Because when you're falling, you are so you need to support your body when you're falling, but you are supporting your body weight. No more than that. So you don't need to be able to lift a very heavy weight. Light weight is okay. In fact, this type of exercise is more convenient because you can not just do a palm push-up, but you can do a fist, push-ups or finger push-ups. So in fact, your finger strength or fist strength or your kind of wrist, the flexibility of wrist is more important than having a bulky chest and bicep to protect you from falling. And remember, lions and tigers don't lift weights. No wild animals work out in the gym. They just move naturally. They hunt, they run around, and then that's how they maintain their muscle. They may not be bulky, but they need sufficient muscles to do their work. The same thing about people, too. We need to be able to walk around. We need to be able to walk up the stairs and maybe, lift certain things and stuff, but we don't need to have a bulky muscle to stay healthy into old age. Then the best thing is through our natural movement, such as getting up from a chair. So do that many times in your daily life, then you can train your leg muscles and you can walk up the stairs many times because this is something becomes difficult as we get older. So train yourself doing exactly the same thing that you want to be able to continue doing in later years. Just walk up the stairs. And that means when you go outside, find stairs and walk up stairs. I often do that when I go to a department store or train station. If I have stairs, then I choose stairs instead of elevator or escalator. If you choose to do some exercise, there are exercises to support the similar function, such as step ups. That is pretty similar to walking upstairs, isn't it? Or squat. Squat is very good because you can do it anywhere in your room, in the yard. You don't need any equipment. It's very easy and simple. So this is a very good way to strengthen your muscles. And heel raise is also good. You can do this at home, or you can do this while you're waiting for a train or while you're waiting at the bus stop. Yeah, this is very convenient type of exercise. And dead hang is something I recommend. Dead hang is good for your grip strength, which is one of the measurement of your health span. So it's important to have a strong grip strength. Also, it's good for your posture. It kind of strengthens your spine, and you need to have a straight spine when you walk, or when you stand, or when you sit down. So dead hang is a great way to train your spine. So it's really good. So it's the best if you have a pull-up bar like that at home, but if you don't, maybe you can go to the gym and do it. Or maybe in your town, there are some parks where they have some pull-up bars like this, then you can use that. Or anything, really, anything where you can hang, like even a tree would be fine. And you can do a pull-up or chin up. Those are great body weight training too. So for this type of strength training, it is recommended that you do 30 to 60 minutes per week or 2 to 3 days per week. In other words, if you did 10 to 20 minutes of exercise a day, you do it 3 days a week. And it is good to do it every other day. So do not do it every day. Once you do the muscle strengthening training, you need to give a rest for about 48 hours. And you also need to think about nutrition, like a protein intake and thing. In order to optimize your strength training, you need to think of protein intake. So for nutrition for muscles, please read the book, Live Wiser, Not Smarter. Chapter 3, The Ideal Diet to Increase Health Span. Now, bone strength. What kind of exercises are good for bone strength? Those strength trainings are good for bone strength too. Many of these strength trainings are effective for bone health as well. On top of that, there are exercises called weight-bearing exercises. These exercises produce a force on bones that make them work harder. Exercises such as jogging or walking, Nordic walking, those are because when you run, there's an impact on the bones that makes bone to work harder. By the way, pay attention to this. When you jog, you're landing on the toes, but when you walk, you're landing on the heel. So you are impacting different part of the foot. In that sense, combining walking and jogging is good way. I sometimes practice walk jog so that I can work on different parts of the feet to train my bones. Dancing is also great because dancing is even better because you kind of move in different directions. Therefore, you can train bones of different part of your feet. Tennis is the same. You move into different directions. Tennis, badminton, or pickleballs are all good for the bones. And jumping, just simple jumping, you can, when you jog or walk, sometimes you can stop and then, jump a few times. That is good too. Jumping or skipping. And sprinting is also good. In fact, wide variety. When you exercise, try to do wide variety of exercises. So variety is also good for bones. Do a range of movements in different directions and at different speeds. So you can do sprint and you can do a jog. You can walk or jog or dance or jump. Then you can work on different areas of your feet and legs. Jogging is probably one of the best exercises because it's a great cardio exercise, great zone 2 exercise, great muscle strengthening exercise. Walking is not so much compared to jogging. As for the muscle strengthening, I mean, walking is, but compared to jogging, it's not. But jogging is more. And then it is good for the bone. So jogging is good for cardio, muscle strengthening, and bone strengthening. And again, you need to think about nutrition for the bone, such as calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, and so on. For details, please read my book, Live Wiser, Not Smarter. You can read chapter 3, The Ideal Diet to Increase Health Span, but also chapter 9, my 80% optimal biohacking routine. Then I discuss exactly what I eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, balance and flexibility. What kind of exercise are good for those two? One is like, to keep a balance, you can always stand on one leg. And in fact, if you can stand on one leg for 10 seconds, that is okay. But if you cannot do that for longer than 10 seconds, then you need to start training your balance. And when you do step ups, you are exactly doing that. So this is a great balance training. Also, heel raise too. You are also keeping the balance as a good balance exercise, or just walking up the stairs. Qigong is a wonderful balance training. There are many exercise where you stand on your one leg. And also, it's a great flexibility exercise too, because you rotate your shoulders and you stretch your body in motion. So, Qigong has many dimensions. It's a good balance and flexibility training. There are many different kinds of Qigong, so you can do what you like. I usually do Qigong meditation channel. So I practice one of the kind of morning 15 minutes a daily routine in this channel. And then for flexibility, you can do a stretching, you can do regular stretching, or you can do yoga. That's also fantastic. And you can also rotate your neck and shoulders and even your toes and fingers. I always make sure to rotate my fingers, pull my fingers, and then stretch my toes, pull my toes, and those are very important, especially toes. Toes are essential element in health according to the Japanese natural health. And also, I correct my posture. You put a cushion like that on your back and then lie down, and that can straighten your spine. It is good to lie like that for like 30 minutes and so on. I usually do this before going to bed. Nordic walking is another way to correct your posture to strengthen your back. So, in that sense, it is better than regular walking. What about brain health? What kind of exercises are good for brain? Well, all those exercises I just mentioned are good for brain. Aerobic exercises, strength training, they're all good for the brain. And especially walking or Nordic walking is good. I personally find walking or Nordic walking is better than jogging because it's slower pace. So you can kind of ponder yourself. It's a great meditation. What I'm jogging, it's kind of difficult to meditate. It's a little difficult to kind of focus on your mind. While you're walking, your mind becomes freer. It is easier to meditate. So for that point of view, this is good for the brain. And then to practice Shingon Kansha meditation, which I'll talk about in the next video or something, it is easier to do it while walking than jogging. And it helps your mind to stay positive, which is critical in this era. And also to stimulate your brain, occasionally you want to go to new places. Maybe you can go to neighboring towns and you take a walk in the new area, looking at different cafes and restaurants. That can stimulate your brain. Sauna is also good for the brain. It reduces the risk of dementia tremendously. Dancing is wonderful for the brain too, because you have to coordinate your rhythm with your partner. Your brain need to pay attention to so many different areas all at the same time. It is a wonderful brain stimulating exercise. Okay, so what about spiritual development? What kind of exercise are good for spiritual development? Qigong is wonderful, and so is yoga. Many of the Oriental exercises are designed to improve your spirituality too. So if your focus is spiritual development, I recommend that you choose Qigong or yoga, and they can help your body, mind, and spirit all at the same time. Walking or Nordic walking is also good. As I said before, it is a great meditation. So in some ways can help your spiritual development more than other higher intensity activities. And especially if you walk in the wood, this is great. I mean, connecting with nature is a wonderful way to improve your spirituality. And of course, you can meditate. I mean, this is not an exercise, but if you want to improve your spirituality, meditation is the best thing you can do. And in the same way, sauna is good, especially Japanese style sauna, Totono that I talked about before. This can help your spirituality tremendously. So how we do it is first, we have a sauna. The temperature is about 80 to 90 degrees centigrade, which is 176 to 195 Fahrenheit. And we stay in the sauna for 6 to 12 minutes, not long time. Because if you stay there longer, it becomes too long. So yeah, usually it recommended between 6 to 12 minutes. And then next you have mizuburo, which is a cold plunging pool. And the temperature is about 16 to 17 degrees centigrade, which is 61 to 63 Fahrenheit. And you stay there between 1 to 3 minutes. Then finally, you do gai kyoku, which is outdoor rest. You do that for 10 to 15 minutes. While you're practicing gai kyoku, you experience hotono. It's a kind of a feeling of mindfulness. So it becomes a wonderful meditation, and it's easier than practicing regular meditation because you're using sauna and cold plunge to work directly on your body. So it is easier for your mind to relax. What about planetary health? What kind of exercises are good for planetary health? Well, one is gardening. When you practice gardening, you will tune into nature. You will pay attention to the soil. You will pay attention to the insect. You will pay attention to different wild plants, and you become in tune with the natural kingdom. Also, by working on your garden, you're growing organic vegetables, which are good for you. So in many ways, gardening is a great activity for your health. And as an exercise, some of you may think gardening isn't so effective in terms of exercise, but you can make it more effective. For example, when you do the weeding, you can choose to sit in a kind of Asian squat position, and then you do the weeding, and it can train your thighs a lot. Then when you move it, you stand up once. So this movement, and then you squat down. So each time when you move around, you can practice squatting. So you can customize your gardening to make it more effective. And cycling is another environmentally friendly activity. Whenever you go shopping or you need to go somewhere, go there by bicycle. This is both good for your health and the planet. Optimal versus adherence. I recommended some of the exercises, and I said some of the exercises I recommended. For example, I said, doing 150 to 180 minutes of zone 2 training per week, and doing 2 or 3 times strength training and so on. And these are optimal, and these are recommended. However, some of them are really difficult and very hard to do, therefore you may not be able to continue. Then there is no point of doing it if you cannot continue. Therefore, doing something you can do is important. Having said that, some exercises are not effective enough. I mean, can you do any exercise? Is that okay? Well, it is better than nothing for one thing. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's always better to do some kind of exercise, no matter what, no matter the duration, no matter the amount. Just do any kind of exercise. However, of course, there are differences by choosing a type of exercise and the duration and amount and so on. And there are optimal amount and duration. So I think it's the best ways to find the sweet spot. So choose exercises that are effective enough, yet doable enough. So don't choose something that is very difficult to do, even though some experts say they are optimal. Yet, do not choose exercise or duration that is not effective enough, even though they're easy for you to do. Finding the sweet spot is the key. But when you do that, you need to think about your situation, not health in general. Because again, you're not trying to become a centenarian athlete. Maybe you have other priorities too. You don't want to spend the rest of your life just exercising. And also, we could die any moment. Even though if you exercise hard every day, you might die tomorrow. So you want to prepare for your death too. So it all comes down to what do you want to do in your life? How you want to spend the rest of your life? Because I'm 62 now, I'm entering the senior age. I don't want to spend the next 20 to 30 years just exercising. I don't want to be a centenarian athlete. I want to do something special, something that is meaningful to me, to my life and to my existence. So the question is how you want to conclude your life. Now, in other words, it is your Ikigai. Ikigai is written like this. It means life, and kai means worth or value, value of life. So, Ikigai ga aru jinsei, life with Ikigai. That means a life worth living for. So I would like to die feeling that my life was worth living for. So how you want to make your life a life worth living for? What do you want to do to feel this way at the time of your death? Becomes a critical question. So depending on that, your regimen changes. Whether it is your exercise, diet, fasting, it changes. This is the most important thing. For me, my mission has always been to do with happiness, how to achieve personal happiness and social happiness. I want to be happy and I want to make society happy. Those two are the two key things that I've been interested in all my life. And Ikigai biohacking is a way to achieve those two goals. Therefore, spreading Ikigai biohacking is my mission, my sole mission, and this is the most important thing. And I exercise to support myself to achieve this goal because I want to remain healthy. I want to be able to move around, walk around, and maybe travel around. But I don't think I need to be able to participate in a marathon race or any other kind of races when I reach 100 years old. So I design my regimen based on this. Achieving my goal is the first priority. And for you too, you first need to find what you want to do in your life and then make your priority. Okay, so the ideal exercise regimen, as I said before, it changes depending on each person. My ideal regimen is different from your ideal regimen. So today, I will just pick four options, just give you some general idea. But based on those four, you can customize it and find the one that is best for you. So first one is those of you who are relatively fit. I recommend this. In fact, this is something that I practice myself. So Monday jogging 45 minutes, and then Wednesday jogging 60 minutes or Nordic walking, and then Friday jogging 45 minutes. So I do cardio 3 times a week, totaling 150 minutes per week. Then I include 60 minutes jogging so that I can activate autophagy as well. Then Tuesday and Thursday, I practice Qigong, body weight hit, and flexibility for about 35 minutes. And on Saturday, I just do body weight hit and flexibility for about 20 minutes. For Qigong, first, I do standing meditation outdoor because I always do that in the morning and I practice morning sunlight exposure too. So doing standing meditation outdoor, you can absorb morning sunlight at the same time. Then I go inside and practice Sharon Qigong 15-minute daily routine. This one for about 50 minutes in my room. Then after that, I do some hit, body weight hit. So when I do the in my room, I do push-ups and sit-ups and squats. And sometimes I do heel raise too. But when I do it outside, then I might do sprint sometimes, or I do a kind of step up type of thing there's a slightly higher bench in this park. Then I do a step up there or a heel raise, or I do dead hang. I just hang myself there and do a dead hang, and then I do pull up and chin up. And for flexibility, I do this type of stretching, rolling the joint and toes, fingers. For details, please watch my other videos. One is body weight hit for longevity, and from sprint to jumping, additional outdoor exercises for over 50, and stretching and flexibility. I put the links in the description box. And if you are sort of okay level, you can decrease slightly. So jogging, instead of doing 45 minutes, you can do just 30 minutes. Wednesday to just 30 minutes, or Nordic walking, and then Friday 30 minutes. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you can do the same thing, or you can do one of the other. So Qigong and flexibility, or body weight hit and flexibility. You can just choose whatever is comfortable for you. And if you're not so fit, start from aerobic exercises such as jogging, because jogging, as I said before, is almighty. It's good strength training too. You can train your muscles a lot by jogging. I feel when I go jogging, yeah, it is a good leg workout as well. And also, it's a good bone exercise. So you can train your cardio, muscles, and bones all at the same time. So start from this. Just jogging 30 minutes and 3 times a week is a good start. And then after jogging, you want to do some flexibility training. You want to do some stretching or yoga. And if you're just beginning, start from Nordic walking, just 30 minutes, 3 times a week. Maybe this is easier than jogging. And then after that, you can do a flexibility training for about 10 minutes. And once you do that, once you do it for several months, then you become more used to doing exercising, and you feel you're fitter and you feel more energy and you want to move around. And then you can pay attention to your movement in your daily life. For example, walk a lot, walk whenever you have a chance. When you go shopping, walk to the store. And when you find stairs, walk up the stairs. Like I said before, when I go to the department store, I choose stairs instead of escalators or elevator. And you can do a heel raise while you're waiting at the station or waiting for someone. And you can do a squat, not in the train station or department store, but maybe in your house. Um, I always I always squat down when I need to pick up something from the floor. So instead of bending over, I squat down with my back straight and then pick thing up and then stand up so that I can practice squatting. And as I said before, when I work in my garden, I sometimes sit in the Asian squat position. And then whenever you find a pull-up bar like that, you can do a dead hang, or sometimes you can even do a pull-up or chin-up. I always do that because there's a park on the way to go to the supermarket. So I usually cycle to the supermarket, but on the way, I stop at this park and I do a dead hang and I do pull-up 10 times and chin up 5 times. And that brings me to cycling. Yeah, you can cycle wherever you to go. I mean, you can walk or you can cycle. Choose those activities instead of driving. And also getting off a chair. So don't continue sitting longer than 1 hour. At least once every hour, you want to stand up and then go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen to make coffee, or go to the yard, or just move around a little bit. But anyway, you want to get up from the chair as many times as possible to train yourself. So now you know what each exercise does for you, how you can train your bones, how you can train your muscles, how you can train your heart, then just incorporate those movements as much as possible in your daily life. Because while you're walking, sometimes you can stop and you can do jump like a few times. You don't need to do many times, just 3 or 4 times. Okay, squatting too. You don't need to do 20 squat, 3 sets. You can just do 3 or 4 squats. That's okay. So incorporate those movements as much as possible in your daily life. That is the key. And in the beginning, I still recommend that you go Nordic walking 3 times a week. So to have that regimen will give you a good start and then kind of make it your custom. Because if you don't have a structure, you never do it. You always forget to doing it. So you want to have some structured regimen at least. But anyway, to choose the type of exercise, it's all up to you. Jogging or walking isn't the only way. There are many other type of exercises. So choose the one that you can enjoy the most. It's the best way. Some of you, maybe you want to do a strength training. You want to lift weights. That's fine. You want to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is perfectly fine. So just choose an activity that resonates with you. That is the best way. For the details about the ideal exercise, please read my book, Chapter 5, The Ideal Exercise to Increase Health Span. Now, the book covers exercise, but also it covers diet, fasting, sleep, heat and cold exposure, and brain optimization. This is a comprehensive book to increase your health span, works on all area, and it's a very concise book. It has only 106 pages, very short, very easy to read. It takes only half a day to read. So please read the book for details. Thank you. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Hachiya Takamiya. I am the author of Live Wiser, Not Smarter. If you like this video, please give me your thumb up and subscribe to my channel. And please leave your comment. So what are your plans for 2025? What kind of exercises would you choose to do? And I hope you have a wonderful 2025. I will see you in the next video. Live with your Ikigai!